Welcome to Whose Story Is It? Where extraordinary lessons are hidden within everyday stories. Join us today in revealing the untold stories within a business leader's success. Enjoy as we uncover the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Whose Story Is It? Now, we're gonna have some fun today. I can tell already. So it's going to be a good time. Thanks for the 3 listeners for popping in. Always like to hear my 3 listeners that are out there. So appreciate that. And you know what? Give us a little introduction.
Well, Mike, thank you for having me. Little introduction. Born and raised on a real small farm with about 300 people in our little town. We're about probably two hours away from a major city, and was raised there pretty much my whole life. Grew up a farmer and learned a lot from my grandfather. The hard work, getting up early.
Sure.
And I also learned how to be a business owner at a very young age.
Sure.
By selling eggs on the farm at 7-8 years old.
That's
And
good. That's good.
so I always been an entrepreneur, and then I just sort of took that into the college level and went to school, and after graduating went into tried to go into communication, but that was my blood was always in business. So right after college, I tried communication, worked for a news station for a couple of years, and said, you know what, I got to start a business.
I got to go.
Have to come back, and that was over 35 years ago.
Yeah, good for you. That's awesome. Well, that's great. It's funny. Did you have one stoplight in your town?
It's funny you say that. We did, but we didn't get the stoplight till I was probably like in high school, maybe. We had a 3-way stop because it was like a T,
Oh,
right? I was like,
sure.
I didn't even have a stoplight, so it wasn't even, let me pick that back. It wasn't a stoplight. It was a blinking yellow light.
Oh, blinking yellow light. Yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't
so
have a
we never had
stoplight.
a stoplight. Yes.
Yeah. I grew up in a small town like that too. Until I was like, I was in Kansas till I was I was probably 12 or so. It was one stoplight. We had about 400 people in the city. The school K through 12, 256 kids. K through 12. Super small. Yeah, super small. So you kind of answered my very first question that I ask every single guest, and that is, how did you earn your first dollar that wasn't paid to you by a relative? And I'm going to hear, or you already said you sold eggs.
Yes, I sold eggs. And the way it started was, can you hear me okay? Can you hear
Huh?
me all right? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The way it started was, we have a big farm, and I raised chickens, and they just started multiplying and multiplying, and I probably had 100 chickens at one time.
Wow.
And so I was always giving away eggs to our neighbors, to relatives. They would always come on weekends and just grab
Sure.
dozens of eggs, but we still had a lot. So I remember one lady at church. We went to church. My mom was asking me, talking to her, and she says, "Oh, I have to go all the way to, I'll say the town later on. But it's
Yeah.
those smaller towns about 30 minutes away from us. I don't like to drive. My husband's not here. I had to get some eggs." So you can go to our house and give you some
Yeah,
eggs.
exactly.
And she says, you can. I said, yeah. I said, give you like 3 or 4 dozen. She goes, really? I said, yes. So she went down to the house, and I gave her eggs, and the smile on her face, like she was just so grateful. And I remember this to this day. It felt like, my heart was just
Oh,
that
sure.
so happy because I made her day, and
Exactly.
that feeling was great. And I remember her saying, "You should be selling this to all of us after church." And I said, "Can I do that?" And she goes, "Why not?" So I told my mom, "Hey, can we go to church and ask the pastor,
Yeah,
if I could do that?" He's like, "Yeah, go ahead right away."
sure.
He's like, "Yes, bring it." So I went
Every
down there
every Sunday.
every Sunday. So I remember my mom said, "Just take whatever eggs you have left over, just take them." And I don't think my mom realized how many eggs we had, right? So I went down there and probably took about about 10, 15 dozen eggs
Wow.
down church.
Yeah.
Sold them all to all. I told her, so tell your friends that I'll be there Sunday, and
Yeah.
so
There you
they
go.
all came and they started buying, and they were just always smiling, always happy, and so I took it from that being the guy that sold the kid that sold eggs every Sunday. Everybody buy me eggs, so I would just take them from that point on, and then
Absolutely. Yeah.
I went from doing that to I graduated from that. Let's get it to my cousins to keep doing, and then I went to cutting down wood and selling cords of wood,
Good
and
for you, man. Yeah.
learned that. Yeah, that's how I made my
Yeah.
first dollar.
That's good. That's a good one. And that's the first time I've ever heard that one. I've heard a lot of like lawn mowing, babysitting. They're selling like stuff. Like this one guy basically took stuff from his brother and sold it. So I mean, it's just kind of entrepreneurial. Hey, if you could change anything in the way you were raised, what would it be? One thing. What would it be that you change?
Um, I think I would have been more social. Um,
Really, seem pretty social right now.
I've learned to at a
You
young
learned.
age. Well, growing up, see where I grew up. My mom is a little Hispanic lady, but my grandmother's from Spain, so she's really, really white lady, and my dad's a tall black guy, and they got married in the '60s. So I'm a mix. I'm half
Yeah,
Spanish, half black. And where I was raised, there back in the '70s, early '70s, there was no one like me.
sure.
Nowadays, you can't tell who's who, but back there where I was
Yeah,
raised, the only time they saw a kid with an afro was on TV. They never really
sure.
see one in real life. So at an early age, I got teased, and so it shut me out from not really talking to people.
Oh, so you just kind of
So I just sort of shut
you just,
down.
yeah, you just kind of shut down.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
that would make sense.
occasional bullies, but it wasn't that bad. It was just I was getting teased. Like people was like, "Hey, let me put a pencil in your hair and let me touch your
Oh yeah,
hair." I was
yeah,
getting teased, and it wasn't like intentional. It was just like I was, or every time someone would mention like, look at that black thing out there," everybody look at me like, and I was like, well, it was always, and I was always real. Um, I was defensive and I was really sheltered. I was like, I'm not. So I didn't really have a lot of friends. I had like two friends
yeah,
growing
yeah.
up that really I gravitated to. But as I grew up, I realized that everybody liked me. It's just that everybody was used to tease me, but not intentionally. So
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
that's what I would change.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What do you do for fun?
Well, for me, my personal fun is two things. I love working out. I get up every morning. I have to. That's um, my time. You know,
That's your personal time is though at the gym. Yeah.
from 7 o'clock, my kids own that time, and then work owns it. But then also after work, I love coaching. I coach football, basketball, baseball for the youth.
Oh,
I
good for you.
always do. I like to give back because I got
When you say youth, how old are the kids?
anywhere between first grade and third grade.
Okay, so really young. Yeah, yeah,
Real young, yes. So,
yeah,
and right now, I think as my son gets older, I'll probably, because when they get to middle school, they're pretty much like, okay, you can't,
yeah.
your dad can't be
Dad,
coach, right?
exactly.
So
Yeah,
I'm enjoying that time now. But
yeah.
I've always loved,
Dad's not cool. Dad's not cool when you get to be a teenager.
he's not. But I love it because knowing that you can make a difference in these kids that love the
Yeah,
game, not
yeah,
necessarily always winning at this age. Yeah, it's fun winning, but teach them the game, teach them how to love it and how to really understand how good they really can be if they put some time and effort into it.
yeah,
Yeah, really educating them and really make sure they have fun is really important to me. So those are the two things I love. For me in the morning, working out and then coaching.
yeah. If you look back, like say the last 15 years, pick 15 years. Say it's 2010. How do you think operating a business has changed for you in the last 15 years?
I think what's changed for me for sure is delegating, bringing in
Okay.
people that were better and smarter than me in other areas. Even though I had a creative mind, I didn't have the skill to do it. And making sure that if I believe what I know worked, talk to the people that are doing it or that can do it, and see if it's worth doing. So at a younger age, I didn't do that. I just did everything and really slowed me down. It shut me down. I lost businesses before.
Oh, sure.
Um,
Yeah.
I had a mortgage company back in 2008, and that shut down. I mean, I did well, but I shut down. But I was really, yeah, I was micromanaging. I was a micromanager,
Hmm.
and and after that shut down, I pretty much didn't know what to do, and I sort of learned how to, hey, I'm going to build something, build a team, and
Yeah.
so I think that's something that's changed. Obviously, now technology lately, but
Oh, sure. Yeah.
go back to 2010, I would definitely say being able to delegate and bring people in where you didn't have those skills.
What do you think is what's the best, most important accomplishment of your life?
Business wise,
I didn't say whatever you think.
um, getting married.
Oh, really?
And I'll tell you why. Yeah, obviously, I have a woman that supports me in everything I do, but it grounded me. It kept me focused on being able to build a business.
Yeah, see, that's the change, right? Because it forces you to be not go out and not screw
Yeah,
around and all those things, right? Yeah, 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 yeah.
a lot of you got a lot of distractions, and I mean, some of them were just not that. They were just like you weren't really focused. You weren't honed in because you had a lot to do. You would go out with your friends, spend the weekend doing things, going to play, do
Yep.
this, and it just took away from what you need to do. When you're married, and you have a family. It's like okay, you're locked in. You're locked in. So
Exactly.
I think that
Yeah.
was probably the best thing because I've always wanted to get there, but I was like wondering how these guys got there so young. It's like, well, I'm over 30 years old and I haven't gotten there yet. Why is that? It's
Yeah.
because they settled down or they focused a lot earlier than I did, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They were shutting. They weren't going out at 4 or
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the evening every day.
Yeah, I know that's the difference. That's usually the difference between those people that have that early success and the people that don't is because they figured out at an early age, like if I do these things, then I'll sacrifice that for right now, but I'll do these things today because I'll hopefully be able to get there, right? And that's you know,
Right.
and that actually that's if you can teach kids that about even their sport that they like to do, if they could take this have the discipline and basically saying, okay, I'm going to work hard at this through high school and maybe I'll get a scholarship, right? Or but I'm going to have to instead of going out and having beers, sneaking beers with my friends, I'm going to have to stay and practice whatever, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. In fact, I'll tell you a real quick story. My son, he plays baseball. He's been playing baseball since T-ball. He's 8 now, and where we live, it's very competitive. I mean, they can play, and he wanted to be on the premier baseball team, and he tried out last year, and he didn't make it,
didn't
and he
make
was
it. Yeah,
getting upset. I said, "Well, the reason why you don't make it is because you spend time, wanting to do technology, which is okay because he's a smart kid." But I said you have to put time and effort into doing things on your own. I said, if I get, I'll get you a cage, this little throwing cage, I'll give you this
sure.
tees and all this, but you had to do it. He did it. And he'll call me out there and go, let's work together. So every day we go out there almost every day and throw the ball and
Yeah,
improve. He tried out and he made it. Now he's one of the main,
yeah.
probably has the best, he has one of the top batting average on the team. But he also has, what they call chances, how many balls are hit to you, and
Oh,
he's had
sure.
and then we've had a short season so far, but he's had 22 balls hit to him, and 20 of them have been outs, only
Sure.
two errors. But he's practiced over and over. And I told him, I said, see what happens when you put now. He thinks he's like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm putting my time. So we were at the batting cages yesterday. We're doing everything every single day.
yeah.
He's taking it to a different level. So yeah, I think he found his
Yeah.
groove.
Yeah, totally, totally. Well, if he can keep that groove for 10 more years, yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
probably a good thing, man.
Oh,
Um, so who's your best friend?
I have two of them. I have obviously my wife. I tell her everything.
Sure.
I can go back to that, but she really knows me like
Who's
better
your
than
other best friend?
my dad.
Okay. So what's his name?
I can't tell you that because then I'll tell you my name.
No, just his first name. What's his first name?
Same as mine.
Oh, so okay. Okay. So if I called your dad right now, if I called your dad right now and said, "What is the biggest asset for you?" What would he tell me?
The biggest asset for me,
Yeah,
my work ethic.
work ethic. Okay, if I said what is his worst asset, what would he tell me?
Stubborn.
Stubborn.
Yeah. It's,
Okay.
I'm I, I,
Okay.
I- he's he's a very blue collar worker. I mean, he's a workaholic. He works hard, but he, like with him, education is important. Using that education is important to him, and I'm the only one in my family that veered off my education. I didn't
Yeah.
graduate, didn't spend all that time going to school, and I didn't use it, right? And I found it, and then I've gone and I've had bad partners in the past, and he's told me about these bad partners, and I told him I'm going to do it anyway, and I did it, and I things have happened that he told me, but I told him I'm not going to change. I don't want to get a job. I'm going to do this. He goes,
Yeah.
so I keep going at it because I said it's a learning experience for me. And he just told me, man, you're the most stubborn person I know, but the work ethic gets you through everything that you're getting through. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Work ethic does a lot. I mean, if you're able and willing to work hard, it's not a recipe completely for success, but it's definitely a piece of it, right?
yes,
Yeah. Hey, if I was operating a business and I came to you and said, "Hey, what is the one thing that I should manage in my business? I only got one thing. What would the piece of advice you tell me to do? I could only do one thing, but I got to do it well. What would it be?"
oh, manage besides your time. I mean, obviously, I would probably say that's a great question. Um, I would say learn how to manage your staff the right way, if that makes sense. It's like use their skills, because I see a lot of people not being used in the way they should be
Highest and
used. So,
best, highest and
uh,
best place.
yeah, so I think putting time into your employees and finding out how what they do so they can bring out the best and feel more valued.
Very good. That's good. I mean, if you that, my friend, is a learned trait because you might or might not agree, but when I was a kid, I didn't know how to do that. But I learned over time by reading, listening, and actually just doing and making stupid mistakes, right? You learn how to be and I would now consider myself a professional manager.
Yeah,
I could
absolutely.
I would absolutely say I can manage anyone. Anyone. I don't care what if I don't care if they're the CEO or the dishwasher. It doesn't matter. Because it's a learned thing that I learned over the years. It didn't come. I don't know if it come natural. It didn't come natural, but it's something that is a learned trait. It's not.
It
It's
is.
not.
It
It's
is.
not
It
like you
definitely
just wait. It's not like you come out of the womb being a good manager.
is. It's very true. You learn
Yeah,
it.
you
You
learn
know,
it. Yeah, you learn well because also you learn it by being managed by others, right?
exactly. And you know
Right.
how they manage you, and you take the good and you learn from the bad, and you make sure that when you're in that position that you remember how you felt.
Yeah. 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 What is the what do you think is the biggest mistake you've made that you learned the most from? So let me make sure I get this question clear. It doesn't have to be the biggest mistake. It has to be the mistake that you learned the most from.
Yeah. Um, Not researching what I'm getting into before I really dive all in. Because when I'm in, I'm in. I'm in, and I put my time and effort in. And
Sure.
I've made some bad investments. I've put myself in circles that were not healthy and good for me. So really taking a step back and looking from the outside, doing a little bit more research, doing more prayer, and getting more of a view of what I'm walking into before I do it. And it's cost me it's cost me not only financial, but it cost me years of recovery.
Sure. Yeah. 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 No. Well, we've all not we all. Most of us business people have had at least one major failure. At least one. Most
Yeah,
of us several. Like I had one in that I had to go through personal bankruptcy because
yeah,
I made some really poor decisions, like very poor decisions. So,
Yeah.
in my business, not in anything else, just in my business. So, yeah, you learn stuff, man. That's how you learn stuff. Just make mistakes. What about here? What part of your routine do you not like doing? And I'm talking about business stuff. Like in your business world, what part of your business routine do you not enjoy?
Um, I'll be very honest with you. I don't enjoy reaching out to and trying to sell what we do.
You're not a cold caller.
I'm not a cold caller. I mean, I sometimes I have to be, but I like walking. I build relationships, and I love building relationships. But one thing I do not like to do, and I have to do it obviously, is because it's my I started the business,
Sure.
is make those calls. And I'm just not that I mean, at a young age, I was okay with doing it, but now as I got older, it's like I know I felt when people call me, and I don't want to have that people feel that way. So I think that's the one thing that I don't like to do.
Okay. Here's a good one. Is it because you don't like to close the deal?
No, I love closing deals.
Okay. So it's
I
not the
love
close.
closing
It's
deals.
not you can ask me for money.
I ask you for money,
Okay.
but I have to know you, and I have to make sure that it's going to be valuable to you before I ask
Sure.
for it.
Sure.
And when you call somebody, when you get to know them, they think it's a sales call right away. They don't have time. They don't have money, whatever the case may be. It's like, well, give me the chance to understand you. And they don't want to, sometimes you have
Yeah.
to go through the whole scenario. Like, well, let me show you what we do. And that's the part I really don't care for. Once I'm
That's
in and it's been, yeah, yeah, show me what you do. Or if I get them on a call, I'm like, okay, I've already done my research. When I walk in, I already know who you are.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I do
Um
ask you for money.
Well,
No problem.
hey, it's funny. I was like that too. I actually, as a kid, I didn't have a problem asking for not like. I mean, I was a sales guy as a kid, right? I was selling chocolate bars to raise money for the basketball team. That's who I was, right? So, and I was always, I maybe not have been the best, but I was usually in the top two or three, right? So, I was always selling my stuff to if I had a basketball team or whatever. But the ability to create the relationship is the key for the long-term success, right? Like you can sell ice cubes to Eskimos, but you can also burn bridges in that process if right? I mean, sometimes the Eskimo doesn't need the ice. So, but he may still buy it because you've done some, bait and switch or whatever, right? And those kind of things. So great salespeople have that ability to turn those things off, or turn those things on, which has been really it's unfortunate. But you see those people who have that ability to sell, but they do it in the wrong ways, right? They're doing it for personal gain,
Right.
right? But
Right.
the
Absolutely.
relationship is the key because if you build a relationship, then they'll buy for you whatever it is,
Absolutely.
as long as
And
it fits.
you brought up a great point, and it's so important to build that relationship. And I think when I say I ask for money, I make sure I know when I ask for money that it's bringing them value. That I've already shown that value,
Yeah,
right? So if I know if I'm going to ask you for something, I know that your return is it's going to favor your return. And when you think about that, and you don't think about selling, you don't worry about the money as far as what you're going to get. It becomes very easy. It just becomes a conversation and research, and that's where
yeah,
you build those relationships. That's why I like building those relationships, because when you build the relationships, then they start telling you your full story, and then with your experience, you can start looking at, okay, how can I really help them?
yeah,
Or even if it's not me, it's my resources. How can I help them with the resources I have,
sure.
and keep me aside from that? So, yeah, that's what I definitely love.
Yeah, good for you. Um, Tell me a embarrassing story that I will remember.
The embarrassing story that you remember.
Yeah,
Uh,
meaning it has to be a good one.
okay, there's a real good one actually. Um, I was in high school. I was about I'm 6'1" now, but I was like 5'7" when I was a freshman and sophomore,
Yeah.
and I can dunk,
So you got
and
some you had some bouncers on you.
I had some bouncers. Yes, I could dunk, and I did that because I was always jumping over things when I was very young, and it just sort of came natural to me.
Uh-huh.
Well, and I could dunk. And I remember there was this girl that I really liked. I really liked, and she was in the gym when we were warming up, and I was in the lane, and one of the guys I knew I liked this girl, and she was just sitting down there, and I went up and I tried to dunk it and I missed it, and then she's like, "Ooh," I was like, "Ooh," I got her
Oh,
attention.
I got.
I came around, I was getting ready to go up, and a friend of mine, his name is Phil, held my shorts, and I went
that's
up.
that's awesome.
Everything came off, like literally,
Everything
like, everything. My underwear, everything. I
awesome.
was,
That
I
is
was just
great.
showing everything. And one of my legs, I mean, he literally pulled the shorts off and it came out one of my feet. So I had to
Sure.
literally go like that, and everybody just stopped and started laughing. If there would have been cameras back then, if there would have been
Uh, social media. You'd
iPhone,
have been a social media star.
oh yeah, oh yeah. But I was the talk of the school for about a week, and yes, and in fact, it became part of our joke when we graduated, because her name was Christine. I really really liked her, and she goes, "You know what?" She goes, um, "We never slept together, but I saw what you looked like." And I remember this, and she never brought it up because she was shy too, but she brought it up when we graduated.
That's
Anyway, that
great.
was like, it was just like something that I'll never forget. It was like that was the most embarrassing thing that I've ever had. Like, in fact, when I talk to my old buddies back in the day, they still bring that up.
Still bring it up. Yeah,
Still bring it up.
that is a great story. That is a totally a great story, man. That is that is that is something you would never forget. Hey, if we got back on a call a year from today, what would you like to be celebrating?
Um, I probably want to celebrate um right now the success that we had, so I can sort of walk away and start something with my wife. Spend time with my wife, celebrating. We have a plan together. We want to do something together. I don't want to give
Sure.
that up yet because I'm putting it out there, but that's the goal. And in a year, my goal is by the time I turn 55 to do it, and I'm 54. So of the timing. So
Clock's
um,
ticking.
it's ticking. So my goal, that hopefully within that time, you'll see what that my wife and I are doing what we dreamt to do together.
Okay, here's another kind of similar question. If life is about chapters, right? So say the last 5 years was a chapter, the previous 5 years to that was a chapter. What's the next 5 years for your chapter going to be about?
Giving back. It's about giving back, not only to what I've learned over my life, all the good and the bad in the business end, but also to my family and to my church and things like that. Just sort of, I want to be that person where I can just start giving, like start helping, giving back to people that need it, and be able to spill my wisdom out to more people about my life, and hopefully put them in the right direction if they're veering off on the wrong direction. So that's what I'm hoping.
Good. That's a good one. So here's a 180-degree turn. If you knew you were going to die this evening, what is the one person you regret saying something to and why?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. What's the one if I was dying today, what's the one person that I regret saying?
Yeah, not either not saying something to or you said something to and shouldn't had. Like, and tell me why.
Oh wow. Um, Gosh, that's a great one. I do have one that's sort of uh I guess, I mean, he was one of my best friends. We went to business together, and gosh, it's gonna be a good one. And the business didn't work out. We were excited.
Sure.
We grew up together. Business didn't work out. Um, he had just started a family, and the business went south. And we went our separate ways. We just sort
Sure.
of, we
Yep.
sort of went our separate ways. He wanted, I started I started building my company again. He started working. Um, he was struggling, and yeah, he reached out and asked for help. And I saw that he was headed down the wrong path. I said, no, I'm not going to
Hmm.
help you. He turned into drugs and lost his family. And,
Hmm.
and he still, gosh, it's gonna make me want to reach out to him now because I literally haven't talked to him. And I mean, I've talked to him, but not so
Not
much.
talk to him. Talk to him.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
talk. He's doing okay now. He's back on his feet and he's doing okay. Remarried. And but I never told him like, sorry. And dude, you're gonna make me want to call him
Yeah.
now.
You better pick up the phone, my friend.
Yeah. And I never even thought about that. Like I never even thought about calling him until you just brought that up. Like it just popped in my head just now.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
that's worth of the hour we're spending together today to make that phone call.
Steve, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing
Yeah.
that up because you know what? I know he would appreciate it, and I know that that's something that's been a burden on me, and I sort of
Yeah.
put in the back of my mind and never brought it up, and it sort of just disappeared, and now he's got slapped in my face with it now, so it won't go away
That's
until I do it.
that's awesome.
So,
That's good to hear. Okay. Give us the Wilton. Give us the Wilton. Tell us who you are.
all right. Well, hey, thanks for inviting me. Um, like I said, I'm a entrepreneur by heart. Been doing it my whole life. Uh,
You got to tell us your name though. No one knows your name. I
yeah,
know your
okay.
name.
My name is Wilton Rogers. I
And we know your dad's name is Wilton too.
My dad's Wilton Rogers. I'm third. He's junior. Uh,
Okay.
and I was obviously I told you I was raised on a farm. Been an entrepreneur. My mom and dad have come from two separate parts of the world. I was telling you earlier. Been married 55, no, 50, 57 years.
Wow.
Uh, and they had weathered the storm. They were the ones back in the 60s that no one ever got married. No black man, no white woman ever got married, and they made it happen.
Yep.
Um, and so, but I've always been an entrepreneur. My business now is my sixth business in five different industries, and I've been
Wow.
on and I became a real entrepreneur right when I was in college. So I've been at it seriously with the business license and everything about
Sure.
35 years.
Yeah.
So I've been owning and operating, and so that's really I'm in automation now. I
Yeah.
saw a need for businesses to be able to, especially small businesses, and I saw the gap of where technology, where they didn't have the technology stacks that they that,
What's
that
tell me the name and all that. Kind of give me the digits of the business, like name, website, all that stuff.
Yeah, the name of the company is Simply Automate. It's simplyautomate.ai. We're all over LinkedIn. All over. We post up there all the time about what we do. Um, and basically, what we do is we go into businesses and find out what they're currently doing, what process they're doing manually, what are rule
Oh, sure.
based, what are manual, what are repetitive, mundane type tasks, and we go in there and build a bot to do it for them instead of them having to do it manually. And what I found out in small businesses, because I knew processes. I knew how to build processes, obviously building companies, but I
Hmm.
didn't know automation ever existed. And when I found out, I always thought like, if I needed this back when I had my company, I got to offer this to other small businesses. And
Yeah.
so I took the leap, left my the corporation I was working with because we were only working in the enterprise world, and it's brought it down to small businesses. And I've been doing it ever since. I've been doing it for 6 years now.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
So
And so
that's
are you working with? I'm going to assume you're just going to work with people all over the U.S. or all over the world or wherever, right?
yeah, I'd probably say about 90% of our business is here in the US. We have obviously some in Canada, some in the UK and Mexico and things like that. But majority of them are from East Coast to West Coast for sure.
Yeah. 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 That's great. And how do you find your customers? How do they find you? Like how do you get a customer? Like how's that?
Well, because you're talking to small businesses, they get calls every day about, hey, we have this new service.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
so we do a lot of education. And the way I've come, might be honest with you, got our customers is education. They reach out or find them on LinkedIn. They said, hey, this sounds great. I look them up, see what they do, send us some use cases, what we're doing, say this sounds interesting. I'd love to jump on a call and get more,
Sure.
more detail of what we do. That's sort of how we build it because talking to small businesses, it's more about the education first because they get inundated with
Yeah. Yeah.
automation
Yeah.
and AI information on a daily basis, and we want to separate ourselves from that. It's like we're totally different from what you're used to seeing. Let me show you how. But to do that, you have to educate them first, so they can connect the dots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you in your process when you started, like the first year, how did you find your first clients? Were you just a LinkedIn guy using, kind of just sharing valuable information, and then, or did you learn that piece, or how did you start it like the first five customers?
Well, I first started by giving it away to
Sure.
people that I knew.
Sure.
It was just like, hey, pay for the software. Let me use your use cases. Let me use your testimonies. Let me build it up like that. So, for me, it was really showing what we can do first, investing in what we can do, and playing the long ball. Because I knew that we were at the beginning of something that's going to be really, really big, and I wanted to be able to bring some proof that it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just talking to people that I knew that own businesses and saying, hey, all you gotta do is
Sure.
pay for the software, don't worry about paying me, pay for this, the developer
Yeah.
that we have, they'll build it and you're up and running. So that's sort of how I got started.
That's great. That's great. And I'm going to guess you kind of are being seen as a thought leader just because 6 years ago AI wasn't a thing. Automation was a thing, but no one really knew what that meant. At least most business owners didn't. Like Zapier was a lot. It was around. Like you could automate things from a digital standpoint, but most people just didn't know how to do it. It was kind of above the pay grade of most entrepreneurs. Like, um, how's that gone now that kind of AI has just taken over in like the last 3 years? That's
Well, the
probably a
good thing,
benefit for you, obviously. No.
it's been a big benefit. And the reason why it's been a benefit is because we have a track record, right? If you go back to even our LinkedIn days, you'll see stuff from 5, 6 years ago when we first started. So it's not like
Mm-hmm.
we jumped in the game and all of a sudden there's a lot of people
Yeah.
investing in automation and AI right now, so they're getting a lot of attention.
Yep.
But when you do your research and you look at, um, businesses that have been around for a while and stories that have been around for a while, we've built a reputation of saying, hey, these guys have been through the ringers and they know what they're talking about, right? So, for me, being a thought leader, yes, in the automation industry, that's why I sort of um, have my hashtag as the automation guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on
I like
LinkedIn,
that.
right? Because my thing is to make sure people know that they need someone to talk to understand how to maximize their opportunities when it comes down to automation and AI. So yeah, we just talk about it on a daily basis. I mean, I don't think we've gone a few days without talking about automation, other things too, but automation and AI always mixed in there because we want to make sure that
Yeah.
when someone clicks on our social media on my page or something, that something's gonna resonate with them and they can make at that time I hit them at the right time. So we never know when that right time is, but hopefully, repeating myself over and over this past years, people will catch on.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Um, what would you tell a new business owner if you only had one thing to tell them to help them be successful? What would be the one thing you would tell them?
Be patient.
Be patient.
Be patient. Um, I think especially now, the technology is so they feel that things can move a lot faster. They see people that have success overnight, but you take that one person and then you take 100 other people that are doing the same thing and those 100 people
Yeah.
are still grinding it out, right? They just happen to get that opportunity somehow that boosted them to do that. Cannot Most of them don't even stay there
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
okay. So I think being patient, if you're getting into business, you have to be. and you have to be able to prepare for hard times.
Exactly. Exactly. You have to prepare for failure. Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure, man. It doesn't. It's not like I said. Tell people it's not easy. Even when it's easy, it's not easy.
It's a lot harder than getting a degree. I've
Yeah.
been talking all the time, like, I got my degree and I felt like, I struggle with that, but this is law.
Waiter, yeah, there are no layups. There are no layups. They're all 3-pointers with people hanging on your arms. That's what they are, right?
A lot of bricks, those 3-pointers that before they start sinking in.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, yeah, Will, it's been super fun, man. I'm so glad we got to touch base because I have had a great time, and hopefully you did as well. But
I sure
man,
did.
it's fun. I can see your, you'll hear if you listen to any of the podcasts, you'll hear me talk. I always talk about humans, like good humans, and you are a great human. Like you are a
Thank
great
you.
human. So
Appreciate
so
that.
uh, you're a lucky man. So keep doing whatever you're doing because it's treating you well. So yeah, is there anything you want to share before we cut this thing off?
The only thing I like to share is, especially in the business world, it's really important to understand that the opportunity when you have a vision, and that's the one thing I love about entrepreneurs. They have a vision and they have the passion to do whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have resources to get there. When you have the resources to get there, you can focus on what you're good at. And with technology and automation nowadays, it's a lot easier to get there when you know exactly how to put that together.
Yeah,
So talking to somebody that can sort of give you the blueprint, whether you do it or work with us. A lot of people don't even work with us but they got the blueprint on what they need to do, and some of them come
sure.
back, some of them don't, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
blueprint, and it saves them years from them having to do it themselves.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Talking to somebody and preparing, even if you're getting in the game, saying, okay, I got to prepare. I'm not ready now, but let me get a blueprint so I can start building on that. That's important, and that's exactly why I did open up this business, is to be able to support those people that are looking to do that. So
yeah. Good for you, man. Like I
yeah,
said, sounds like the family's doing great. That's good to hear. You got a great wife, obviously. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're gonna kill it. So yeah, it's just great. I'm just glad that we got to spend some time together. So um, you know, thanks for showing up. Thanks for spending an hour with me today, and best of luck, man. We'll cross paths. We'll cross at some point in time, my friend.
we sure will, Mike. I appreciate it. And when we're down there, I told you, when we're down in your area, we got to hit some of those vineyards over there.
Well, that's a wrap on another episode of Whose Story Is It? We grow our audience mostly through friends sharing with friends. So please share this with a friend you care about, and of course, share it on your social media. We love that. Also, if you think listening to the podcast was entertaining and valuable, then please subscribe to next week's episode. So keep moving it forward and join us next time as we continue to uncover the extraordinary in the ordinary. Have an amazing day.